Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show and really on any show that I do, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Good morning, Tracy St. Clair. Happy Friday, everybody out there who is slanging freight on this beautiful, sunny Arizona summer day. I know all of you guys are out in sunny Arizona, but it's a beautiful Friday out there, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you all are getting after it. Trusted Nick, my man, let's go. Corey Buchan, what is up over on YouTube? I like seeing everybody over on YouTube, you guys. I'm trying to get everything. Robert Cowton coming in hot over on YouTube as well. I'm trying to get more and more people over onto the YouTube channel because for some reason there's just a lot of sporadic streams that I've been told about on LinkedIn, and that the stream kind of drops off and people aren't notified and everything. So I'm trying to push more and more people over to YouTube because I go live on YouTube, I go live on LinkedIn and Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. And those are the sites that I go live on every single day out there. Cody Kaler, my man, produce, all things produce, A and Z Trucking. If you are a produce shipper who listens to this show, you got to hit up my man, Cody. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning, Freight Friday. Jesus, I'm all over the place. Orange shirt gang in the house. That's right, gang. Hold on, you guys. I got to reply to a customer here. All right. And sorry, guys. One moment here. We are just making it happen because that's why you guys all tune in, because I actually move freight. All right. I don't theorize about this shit. All right. I'm actually fucking building freight, building a book of business, building a brokerage up, doing all of that stuff. And yeah, you guys, we're making it happen out there. Response time is everything. Dylan Turner, happy Friday. Good morning to you. And also, you guys, today's Q&A day. All right. I got some questions that came through the DMs. And if you guys have any sales or operations related questions you guys want answered live on the show, drop them in the chat. I will answer them live for you guys to the best of my abilities. And if I don't know the answer to it, I will find an answer for you. Zena, happy Friday, everyone. Robert Cowton says, strange, I lose 100% of customer quotes when they want a rough estimate quote with no details. Then they say I found a lower rate, but I had no load details. That is frustrating. Kyle Provost, happy Friday. Let me see. Jeff, what is up? Good morning, TGIF. Let's get it. Jeff Bjerkson. Is that how I pronounce it? Bjerkson? Robert, yeah, man, it's wild how that works. I have that happen to me a lot as well. And, you know, I find this common in the open deck space because, you know, we move a lot more open deck than we do drive-in and stuff like that. But I've just kind of found that, you know, with those style of customers that are just looking for a price on a lane in the future, I mean, they're just looking for a spot bid. And I don't really, you know, unless it's a customer of mine who I work with a lot, I'll ask for more details and I'll kind of push and I'll let them know, like, hey, FYI, like, this is just a rough guesstimate. If X, Y, and Z are going to be a thing, it's going to change the price and everything else. But I think a lot of it, you know, from what I've noticed in my experience in open deck is a lot of them are just needing like a rough estimate on what transportation might cost them for when all the bids and stuff that they are putting in for all of their freight. And yeah, man. So I hope that kind of helps out. But I know what you mean. I know the frustrations that can kind of come in. And I'm getting a rate put together here, you guys, for this customer quote that just came through. I'm doing this live on the show right now. And ironically, not ironically at all, I'm using green screens to get my bid out there. So I am doing that, and I am pulling up their pricing right now on this to get them a rate. So when my customer replies, yes, we need a quote, I got a quote for them, and it's from green screens. I literally use them for all of my pricing, you guys, for all of the freight that I move. And the lanes that they are moving is it's like the lanes that I'm moving, like the rates that they're providing out there are freaky accurate. Like one of them was like within $4 of what I paid on the load. Like it was literally within $4. Like it's wild how crazy, or excuse me, it's wild how accurate some of these rates are that they provide us, you guys. So hit them up if you guys want. Let me see here. Devon McKinney, what's going on, man? He says, what is the best way of following up with internal customers that you have worked with in the past? Devon, it's funny you bring that up. I actually had somebody DM me this week asking, how do I develop a customer? So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. I'm going to tell you exactly what I do in these instances. So, the reality is you onboard a customer, you bid on a load, you might win. You might win the first load, and then you might not hear from them for a while. And I want to always develop my customers out because I know, like, and especially in today's market, a lot of the opportunities that you get are few and far between, especially if it's a newer customer that you just recently onboarded, or I would even say that you've onboarded in the last 6 months. You're still fighting up against all of their existing providers that they've had relationships with for, a couple of years at that point. So I'm always like my outflow of communication is kind of predicated on what volume of shipper they are based on the conversations that I had in the onboarding phase. If they're one of those customers who are, hey, we have 1 monthly shipment, or we have 2 monthly shipments, I'm not going to reach out to them every single day. I'm not going to reach out to them every single week. It's going to be a periodic drop in that situation. If I'm dealing with a customer who is, they ship multiple shipments a week, I'm talking to them multiple times a week. I'm reaching out to them via email or phone, depending on how they want to communicate, right? I think that is very, very important here, because we as sales reps sometimes want everybody to communicate the way that we want them to communicate. And that is just not the case out there. We have to identify what communication style they prefer, and then we reach out to them in that manner, whether that's text message, whether that is email, whether that is via phone, or if that's just everything's done EDI, right? Like they send out spot market on their bid board and you do that. But I think that it's definitely dependent on the customer. But again, I think it's important, if you can't do something with a customer, if they send over a request and you can't accommodate it, let them know, like, hey, I don't have any capacity for that move. I appreciate the opportunity. I've never been removed from a customer's operation by telling them the truth. Okay. And I think that, for me, it's the follow-up procedure after you onboard them is even more important than the follow-up in the prospecting phase, because, depending on how many providers that they have in their system, you don't want to fall to the wayside. You don't want to be left off any bids. You don't want them to forget about you. So from my perspective, man, I'm depending on the volume of shipper that they are, I'm communicating with them multiple times a week. And then if I don't hear from them, I'm calling them. All right. Even if they want to communicate via email, if I don't hear from them for like 2 weeks, I'm going to pick up the phone, check in, see how they're doing, see what's going on in their world and everything else, and see if I've missed out on anything, and, let them know that I'm here. Right. I think that's the biggest thing is, hey, I'm here. They know, right? Like, I think but it's that I don't want them to ever forget about me. So that's kind of the best way that I follow up. And that's what I currently do with all of the shippers that I'm working with. If I don't hear from somebody in a couple of days, and if I don't hear from somebody in a couple of days, and it's somebody who I normally hear from, throughout the week, I will call them just to check in quick. And, again, I think that constant line of communication is going to be crucial in there. And then again, I think that that's one of those situations where we need them to know and feel how much their business can mean to me. And I think that it's on us to stand out in a crowd because there's 30 some thousand freight brokers or 27,000. I forget how many Kevin Hill said that there were on Monday, but there is a lot of brokers out there. There's a lot of people who are sitting there in your customers' ears at all time. And we want to make sure that they remember us when we want to make sure that they remember us when they need us in those situations. And, I know the follow up is kind of a little bit different than developing a customer as well, because there's, again, how do you stand out in the crowd, right? Like you just get onboarded with a customer. How do you stand out with their current network of providers? And I think that a lot of people overestimate what it actually takes to stand out. Like I'm going to be honest with you guys. Oh, I'm always honest with you guys, but on this one in particular, um, the bar is extremely low out there. All right. It really is. It seems high during the prospecting phase because they get bombarded with brokers, trucking companies, everybody, all time, all day long, everything. They are bombarded with people. But once you can fight through that initial resistance and you finally get in the door, I think people will be pleasantly surprised on how low the bar actually is from a communication standpoint. Because really, communication is the only thing that matters. All right. It is the only thing that matters. If there's a delay, you got to communicate. If the driver's on time, you got to communicate. If something happens, you got to communicate, right? But most people avoid the hard at all costs. And I think the best way to develop a customer long term is to not lose sight of that and then to treat every opportunity as an audition for the next opportunity that you get. Okay. I truly feel that way. I think if you can go out there and treat every shipment as an opportunity to audition for the next load that you're going to possibly move for that customer, the better off you're going to be in the long term. Because I think most individuals out there think business is replaceable. They think customers are replaceable. And a lot of people treat this as, I mean, it's just a job to them, right? Like they don't give a fuck. They don't care about the customer's freight. They don't even care about their job at the end of the day, right? So it's like that's really your competition at the end of the day. And I think if you actually have a give a fuck level out there, you are going to be in a very good position to where your customers are going to want to work with you in the long term. I truly feel that way because your communication has to be consistent on every single load. You cannot lack or have a breakdown in communication if you're not making money on the load, right? Because again, why the market is where it is right now is it's easy. So right, so everybody's fucking good in their mind. Everybody's the best. But when things change, when the market progresses and it becomes a carrier market, a lot of brokers aren't going to be able to swallow that they're not as cool as they think they are pill. And they're going to struggle with that, right? And then they're going to stop communicating. They're going to stop doing the things that got them the accounts because the frustration is going to get in. And that's my ultimate goal with all of my customers is they're going to know my ultimate goal long term is one day when we have the largest freight brokerage in North America, is that our largest shipper by volume and our lowest shipper by volume are going to sit in a room together and they're going to discuss the service levels that they receive. And my ultimate goal is they're going to sit down and they're going to be like, holy shit, they treat us the exact same. Every single shipment's going to be treated the exact same, in my opinion. I think that's one of those things that you can do to develop a customer long term is to take that approach, right? It doesn't matter if you're making $5, $5,000, or losing $500. You have to treat them the same. So I think that's pretty important out there. Hold on, you guys. I'm replying to this customer here quick. All right. Okay, let's go. All right, next question that we had here. Sorry about that, you guys. Again, I'm working here, and my business partner's out of the office today, so I got everything going on right now. Berkson. All right, Burskin. Got it, Jeff. Burskin. All right. Next question that I got in is about hiring employees and like training employees. The question was, I've heard you mentioning that you've hired employees this year. How do you train them? How do you bring somebody on and develop them? I mean, it's kind of an open-ended question, because I think it's dependent upon the role and the experience that they have in the industry. But I think, to me, training is a continuous event. There's never going to be anybody in my organization that is going to think that they don't need any more training, that they're ever going to get to a point where they think that they're good, because that's not how I will approach anything, because training and development is crucial for the long-term success of an individual. I think meeting with people consistently, and especially in today's day and age, right? Like, remote work is a thing, and it's going to be a thing. And I want my people to know that I'm easily accessible at all times, whether it's a virtual door or an actual door, that if they want to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me and communicate with me, and they need to feel heard. I also want to make sure that they have all the tools and all the knowledge to execute at a high level, because I look at it long term. Like, my brand, my company brand is everything, and your brand will have a reputation out there in the market, whether you like it or not. And I want my customers, I want them to know that and to experience that. So I think if I'm sitting, the fundamentals are everything, right? Like, I think that, again, and this just comes with the big digitization and technology push out there, is everybody thinks like there's some fucking secret sauce. There isn't secret sauce, you guys. Most people overlook the blocking and tackling of this industry that makes a provider great, right? Because it's not always price. All right. No matter what everybody out there wants to try and sell, it's not always price with the customer. They need to make sure you know what the fuck you're talking about when they're giving you a shipment that's like $300,000, or $150,000 and stuff. They need to make sure you know what you're doing. So to me, it's the blocking and the tackling. It's the fundamentals. I want to make sure my driver has literally everything. Like, I see posts out there about, oh, I withhold information from your driver. What the fuck? How do you withhold information from your driver? In what world does it make sense to withhold information from your driver at all? You don't think that they're like, well, shit, if they're not going to provide me this, why would I go in and even risk picking up a load? Is this even a load, right? And I think that, again, I want my drivers to have everything. I want my people to have everything. And it is the fundamentals, right? Like, every single time, this is how I book a load right now. If it's an inbound phone call, all right, because I always rely on my carrier network of providers that I go to first for every load. But if I have to go outside of that and I have to post the load up on a load board and take an inbound call, the very first thing I will always ask is, what's their MC? All right. I want to make sure they're set up and active with me, or I want to check them out on like Broker Carrier, hint, hint, and see what they look like as a carrier and see if this is somebody who I actually want to work with on this load. The next one is say it's a dry van, for example. I want to verify the equipment type. Hey, do you have a 53-foot dry van for this shipment? You do? Awesome. Does it have any holes, odors, or smell? Or what does the shape of the trailer look like? Right? Is there any odor? And then from there, I want to ask them, can you scale the weight? Right? Because the top 3 reasons why a carrier won't do a load is A, they're a shitty company and they're a scammer. And you can end that right away with the very first question that you ask them. The second question, verify the equipment type, right? I've had, because like, again, if your customer says it's a van only and then you send in a reefer, they're never going to trust you on their freight, right? Verify the equipment type with the individual, and then verify the commodity and the weight of the shipment, that they are okay with hauling that. Can they scale 40,000 pounds? Hey, can you haul this commodity? There's various drivers out there for religious beliefs and reasons and everything else that they won't haul certain commodities or components of a commodity that's made for alcohol, pork, meats, certain things like that. So I want to get rid of that right away. No harm, no foul. I respect your beliefs, but this is what I'm trying to go in and pick up. So I think if you're out there and you're doing that consistently, That's a major plus that a lot of people aren't doing. Instead of it picks here, it delivers here, this is what it weighs, this is what it pays, you know? And then furthermore, if your load requires tracking, make sure they're aware of that in the booking process. Don't be one of those dumb fucks who puts it in on a rate confirmation and buries it on level, the 40th line item on your rate con, which is like a fucking novel these days, that it says you're going to be fined $250 if you're not on tracking. Why weren't they aware of that in the front half, right? So again, if you're going to have any of those little special requirements out there, make sure the driver, the carrier, everybody is aware of that prior to booking the load. You want to solve some of your fall off issues that you guys have? Go through this shit with the people you're booking them on. All right. And then again, furthermore, if there's an appointment, you guys on the load, don't fucking lie to these guys. Like, I swear 98% of the problems that brokers have are self-inflicted. And some of you are going to be very pissed off by that statement. But it's your fucking fault why you're in a lot of the situations that you're in as a broker. It's because you're not doing your job. You're withholding information. You're trying to slide shit in there, and you're gonna fucking struggle with that. Okay. I know that was kind of a vague response to the training thing, because I could talk for hours on training. And if you guys have any specific questions in regards to like a situation of like, hey, how do I increase capacity on certain lanes, or, growing with the customer and everything else, like Devon had that question and another one that came in, we can answer that again on another call. I just want to make sure to get to other questions that come through on that. But training, you guys, is a never ending cycle. All right. I've been in business for myself now for a little over 4 years. I have an entrepreneur group that I'm in. I reach out to people all the time because there's a lot of situations that I encounter that I've never experienced before. And again, I'm never going to have it all figured out, and neither is your team. Okay. And you need to invest in that long term. Hold on, you guys got to respond to the customer here. Those response times are everything, you guys. Response times are everything. All right. Matt Dahl says, the carrier market scares me more. I've proven I can sell in tough sales market, but it was very easy to find carriers, as CTG have zero experience getting carriers in a carrier market. Imagine a lot of CTG sellers who have been around since 21. Matt, there's a lot of people out there that are going to be in for a wake-up call that have never sold in a carrier's market before. And again, like I've been talking about here on this show recently, it doesn't have to be that way. All right. Respect goes a long way. And it fucking pains me the amount of conversations I have with the drivers that haul our freight who thank us for treating them with respect. So I'm just going to leave that at that. And, again, I'm not immune. I'm not perfect. I've made my mistakes early on in my career and thought I had it all figured out. But eventually there will be a reckoning of sorts to some individuals out there who treat drivers like absolute shit. All right. It's going to happen, whether it's a lack, it's a loss of a customer, because you got to go through it, right? That's what happened to me. I lied to a customer, lied about some shit, and I lost a customer because of it. And then I learned, right? I'm the type of person where I got to learn the hard way for me to actually understand when I'm doing things wrong. But I truly think that it's going to be a tough day for a lot of people when that happens. But for me, I'm prepared for it. I've been selling nonstop for the last 18 straight months, and I am fully ready for people to make those early mistakes. I'm not hoping anybody fails by any means, but I'm prepared for when the inevitable market shift happens. I'm prepared and ready to grow, because that's what's going to happen. Sonny Sharma says that's a regular question. Yeah. Sonny Sharma knows what's up out there. Lack of transparency. Amen to that, man. The last question that I got was about what business podcast that I listen to. I listen to the Real AF podcast religiously all the time. Andy Frisella. I would go back and listen to all of his stuff on the MFCEO project. That's what I started doing when I got into when I started my stuff back in 2020. Is I didn't have shit going on throughout the day, so I just listened to business podcasts. I listened to Gary Vee a lot. If you're in the content space and you want to create content, listen to Gary Vee. He gives a lot of shit away for free. So Andy Frisella, Real AF, Ed Milet. is another one. And those are the two, Andy Frisella and Ed Mylett are the two podcasts that I have listened to consistently for the last 4 years. They are, I think, a good comparison, and they built real shit out there. And I think that you don't need to pay for mentorship early on if you can't afford it, or coaching or anything like that. There's a lot of free content that is out there. I couldn't afford any of that stuff for the first 2.5 years, 3 years, 2 years, excuse me, that I was in business, because 2022. Yeah, excuse me. So the first 2 years I couldn't afford any of that stuff. I've been in the RTA syndicate for the last 2 years now, but I would start with Andy Frisella. I would start with Ed Mylett. I also am a big fan of Alex Hormozi. I think he is a really good free resource out there through his podcast. Dylan Turner put out, Jocko is another one. Jocko Willink, Simon Sinek is another really good resource as well. And then again, I look at it like this. So I would pull the guests, like if you're looking for other podcasts as well, because I get the whole paralysis analysis. You can't, some people might not be able to listen to the same angle every single time. But any of Ed Mylett's guests that he has on the show, if they have a podcast, that's another good one where I would look at as well. Same thing with Andy Frisella. Any of those guys that have guests on their shows, if their guests have podcasts, I would listen to their podcasts as well. I think that those are a good start out there. But you guys, there's a lot of free resources. And the tough thing about the internet, the tough thing about social media is it is littered with a lot of individuals who are faking. Even in our own industry, there's a lot of people who are posting in our own industry that aren't even actually fucking driving, have never driven trucks, and they've never brokered loads before, and they're not currently brokering loads, and they're trying to tell people how to do a job that they've never actually done. So you have to be very careful about who you take advice for out there on the internet. And I truly think, like, from a business perspective, Andy Frisella and Ed Mylett are really, like, if you're looking for free content, you listen to their podcast, you will learn literally everything you need to know out there. But that is going to be it for today, you guys. Let me see here. Dylan Turner says, same thing I do with your past. I try and add every guest on LinkedIn to follow their experience and gain their POV, which might be opposite of mine, but changes mine. Yeah, man. And that's the thing. I think, like, it's very crucial where I follow people who I disagree with on a lot of stuff, but I also follow discerning in like opposite viewpoints on things, because I want to see, like, am I full of shit, right? Because I'm not fucking perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I can be, my opinion can be changed on things. I need to learn. Like, being in an echo chamber is a very dangerous fucking spot. You need to hear other people's opinions on things. Because I think it helps solidify your stance, or it might help you become a more well-rounded individual out there. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. Also, a brand new episode I released this morning as well with Mike Schember. He is with Freight Claims. If you have any questions about freight claims, you're going to want to listen to this episode, because he's got a great piece of software out there that I think is going to really change the industry as a whole. And then also, you guys, if you guys got value in what you hear on this show, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network. And if you're over on iTunes and Spotify and you're subscribing for the first time, and if you think your boy deserves a 5-star, hit that 5-star out there, you guys. That's just how we grow, and this is how we can help more people and reach them, is because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.